Real Nerds is a proud partner of the Denver Podcast Network. In the shadow of the mountains,
we speak.
Hello, everybody. I'm JD Lopez, the host of Left Hand Right Brain. It's a free-flowing, wide-ranging conversation that I have with artists doing interesting and creative things here in Denver and beyond. We talk about their personal stories, break down their creative process, and what motivates them. Spoiler alert, it's mostly spite. We talk about all these things and more while kicking back, cracking wise, and always having a good time. You can find old episodes and everything you need to know at lefthandrightbrainpod.com.
Oh, hi, podcast listeners. There's many ways you can listen to the Real Nerds podcast. You can subscribe on iTunes. You can also subscribe on Stitcher Radio. You want to send us a Twitter message? You can do that. It's so easy, at Real Nerds. Like us on Facebook, Real Nerds Podcast. You can visit our website, realnerdspodcast.com, where there'll be a lot of articles for you to not only read, but to listen to our previous shows. You can also call us, 720-6nerds5. Thanks for listening, and enjoy the show.
Hi, this is Jonathan Tiersten from The Perfect House and Sleepaway Camp, and you are listening to the Real Nerds Podcast.
Welcome to another Real Nerds Podcast interview from Denver Pop Culture Con 2019. Hope you enjoy.
Back live here at Denver Pop Culture Con 2019. I am Ryan, and we are with author Dane Kroll. I was so worried that I'm going to say Denver Comic Con that I'm thinking of it throws everything off.
Denver Pop Culture Con. Like
it's
that.
Always going to be Comic Con to me.
Yeah, it happens.
Author Dane Kroll, thank you for taking time out of your day to sit down and hang out with us.
No problem. I always enjoy these.
All right. So tell us a little bit about yourself, Dane. What brings you to Denver Comic Con? I literally just did it.
Right there.
Denver Pop Culture Con. What brings you to Denver Pop Culture Con?
Obviously, I'm trying to pump out some of my books out there. I've got several different series: Realm of Goryo's, Giant Monsters. So it's perfect timing right now with Godzilla.
Oh,
coming
nice!
This weekend, so excited.
Cool.
I got horror floating around. Black Friday, Palm Springs. We got a zombie book, We Woke the Dead. That's kind of new. Alien Falls is my fantasy series. I'm kind of all over the place. I'm all over the board when it comes to writing.
But do you have to be? I mean, keep yourself from being bored with what you write, or do you get bored writing, or? I don't know. I'm not a writer. I'm not creative, so I don't know.
I feel like I probably would get bored if I stuck to something too long, because I've been bouncing around between Alien Falls and Realm of Goryo lately. So right now I'm writing book 5 of Realm of Goryo. That just came out, and then book 6 is up next, and bouncing back over. But some of those series have gotten me so just jazzed up and excited that maybe I wouldn't get bored. I don't know.
All right. So how did you get into writing? Because it seems a hard thing to get into and then get published.
I started out as a little kid. I remember, I have first grade journals of stories that I drew and wrote and whatnot. And it's literally Giant Monsters as well, so that stuck with me for years. I was going through these giant insects are attacking the city. This is part 2, part 3. And so, that stuck with me. And then eventually around adult age, college, I guess, it was kind of like, let's do this for real. Let's take this up a notch. Went to film school, did all that. So
you went to film school?
I did go to film school.
So how did you settle on novels? You write screenplays as well?
I started out writing screenplays, and that's what several of them became novels at one point. Usually because filming a movie is a lot more money and a lot more crew you need, and a lot of people aren't reliable. I'm like, okay, guys, we're going to be filming this week. Oh, I can't make it all of a sudden. I'm like, well, crap.
Yep.
And so that became you know what? I'm just going to make this book a freaking novel at this point and move on with my life.
So why big monsters then? What fascinated you with the monsters?
I don't know. I always loved them as a kid, watching the old Godzilla movies. Godzilla's Revenge was the one VHS tape that just kept getting rewound. It's still holding strong somehow. And I think then growing up and within the film and whatnot, I kind of fell back in love with the stuff I watched as a kid. I go through that phase where you're like, independent movies are the best movies out there.
Yeah.
And eventually I'm like, I'm so bored with these movies. What did I like before? I'm like, Godzilla. I love Godzilla. Why did I stop watching that?
That's all. I always go. As we do a movie podcast, and I always have this thing. I call it independent movies. Now, there's a difference between being an independent movie like Friday the 13th and being an independent movie in quotes where everybody is snarky and everybody is
the
artsy stuff. And sometimes you just want to see a monster kick a building.
Yeah.
You know?
Like, I'm also a huge wrestling fan, so I just want to see some stuff fight
Nice.
at one point. I want to see a little bit of story in between.
Yeah, me too. I used to watch wrestling all the time. I don't watch as much anymore. My wife laughs at me because when I go to movie places and I see like 9 hours of Macho Man matches, I get it, and she just shakes her head. What is wrong with you?
Yeah.
I'm like, because there is an art to it. There's an art to,
definitely.
and you can. I guess we can relate it to your books. You have to have the destruction and the mayhem, but you have to have something that people are going to latch on to.
Yeah, there has to be a reason why they're fighting.
Yeah.
Like, what's driving this purpose? And I throw that into my Realm of Goryo Giant Monster series because the monsters aren't just fighting. There's a style that the monsters are fighting. There's a reason that they're fighting. And whether they win or lose ends up actually causing a rift in the next part of the stories and books where this monster just lost this major battle where he tried to turn on his allies at one point, and all of a sudden he's disappeared because he's shamed.
So I guess here's a question. So when you write a story, do you write it from a human's point of view or a monster's point of view? And inverse of that, how do you convey a monster's emotions if they are not the one thinking the emotion in a novel?
Yeah, like it almost comes from everybody's point of view, where the monsters are just as much characters as just the human characters as well. And to get the point across, he's kind of like, he's obviously angry. He's, this guy's pissed off. You're in his territory. He starts, beating stuff around, knocking stuff around. He just gets in his face. It's all physical for the monsters because they can't actually communicate with anybody. And then we have like one translator for the monsters at one point, but she ends up disappearing for a little bit. But yeah, ultimately it just comes down to conveying their emotions just through the prose and just trying to get more physical with them where, this monster's holding off, why is he holding off? And then eventually they'll ally together and it's like, oh, okay, they're working together now. They're not attacking. Okay, let's just, let's team up at this point.
So they're big monsters.
Oh,
We're not talking about like, Creature from the Black Lagoon, human size.
There's a couple of those floating around in there. But yeah, most of it's all kaiju giants. Just rumbling through the city, destroying things. And like every book, I think that's one of the things that when I write them to write the series, with the movies themselves, they always kind of restart it. Or Tokyo would be back up and buildings fine. This is all one series, so if a city's destroyed, it's destroyed. And that's building up more problems for the Earth, where people are just moving places and there's just homeless everywhere and just causing more problems on infrastructure. And we're just going to have to let these guys die because we got nothing. And then the next thing you know, we go back to Tokyo. This place is pretty much garbage now.
Because that is a pretty interesting thing. Because you do think about that after the movie's end. I mean, the dust has to settle sometime, and then how does society rebuild after everything's been destroyed?
Yeah. So as of right now in the series, half of society is kind of just turning a blind eye to things. The other half is just kind of dwelling in misery. At this point, and just more monsters keep rising up, and we're like, okay, we gotta really defeat this one. Nope, we lost.
So is there factions then of people too, where maybe someone's not up to good, and then you have, factions, tribes, whatever you want to call them.
Yeah, factions are forming everywhere. There's aliens as well, 2 different alien species. There's different factions within them, all trying to garner either peace between the species or division. There's a group of people that follow the Kaiju Horus, that they brought him up, and he started wreaking destruction. Basically, extremists going, oh, no, nothing but Horus. Horus is all we need. And he's just wreaking havoc.
So I always have this question with authors because it's fascinating to me keeping all these characters, all your worlds straight. And I always picture the detective thing where you have, a monster here, and then it branches off with yarn everywhere to keep them straight. How do you keep it straight?
A very poorly formatted Word document. There's a list of all the kaiju, and then there's lists of all the other characters and cities I've made and the cities I've destroyed, and characters that have secret backgrounds that haven't been revealed yet. But it's okay, he's a secret this thing and not revealed. Oh, it's now been revealed. Great. Or this guy's dead now. Don't bring him back.
Do you use color-coded stuff? Or
unfortunately, no. I really need
so how do you remember all that stuff? And
a lot of it's in my head, and a lot of it's just kind of rereads and kind of
wow.
Oh yeah, okay, that's right. We had this guy come up.
That's so fascinating to me because my brain does not work that way. It takes a talent, right?
Yeah.
It takes a special kind of person.
Reading all those comic books back in the day build up all this room for remembering continuity.
That's so cool. So where are your books? Where can we find them, and how can we support you?
Easily found on Amazon. You can look up Dane G. Kroll right there, or the individual books, Realm of Goryeo, Eluin Falls. Also, website, danegkroll.com. Or KrollCreations.com will redirect you there, basically. It's a kind of a new branch off. We're getting some new stuff going on. We're making some new little creations, 3D illusions, and ideally a giant Rock'em Sock'em robot set that we're trying to build.
That'd be epic.
I know. We're so excited for it. We got the prototype going. Like, okay, this might work.
How do you prototype that? I'm just curious. That's fascinating to me.
PVC pipe and duct tape and masking and all kinds of stuffing. We're trying to get the bodies going. Okay, is this working? This is working. Okay.
And then when it works, then who do you give it to? Like a toy company, I'm guessing? I don't know.
Ideally, we're just going to take it around to conventions. So maybe, in a couple of years, we'll see, some giant
You'll be over there and you'll be
fighting
fighting and then be like, I knew him when he was talking about
Buy
that.
my books as well and play this game.
Yeah.
It'll be so much fun.
That's awesome. Well, thank you for stopping by. I know you're busy and you have to get selling books and talk to people. We appreciate the time. Are you? Sorry, I got a guy behind me like waving. I'm like, is he waving at me? Okay. Is there anything else you want to part with us? Wisdom.
I don't know about wisdom, but I will part with one more thing. I'm a local TV celebrity in my area, Northeast Kansas. And so if everyone wants to watch videos of me making a fool of myself, they can go to Northeast Kansas, the Northeast Kansas CW on Facebook, and you see videos of me talking about all the primetime lineups for the CW.
Awesome.
So it's a lot of fun.
So wait, so you're from Kansas too?
Yeah.
What? So did you hear me talk to Suzanne about the weird statues in Wichita?
Wichita, yeah.
What is that?
I don't know.
I ask every time I meet someone from Kansas, I always ask them, why is there a Village of the Damned children in the middle of the sidewalk?
Stuff. Like, I'm from Topeka, and that's just weird as well.
Okay.
We got some messed up people over there.
Yeah,
too.
in my previous career, I opened a restaurant in Hutchinson, Kansas. Hutchinson, there we go. I knew I could find it eventually. Yeah. And they were nice, but they had a salt mine there that had really cool stuff in it. And Kansas is just a different place. Very nice, though.
Well, they got some nice stuff in the salt mine. I think Gone with the Wind, the original film, is down there now.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. So, cool. So if you want to see art, go to Kansas, I guess
weird.
And they'll cultivate people and authors and stuff because back to back. Dane, thanks for stopping by. I appreciate it.
Guys.
Thank you.
This has been another Real Nerds Podcast interview from Denver Pop Culture Con 2019. See you next year.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Real Nerds Podcast. Real Nerds Podcast is a production of Nebulous Visions Multimedia. Thank you to Sparks Mandrill and Plan 9 Studios for our kick-ass theme song. Also, if you're in the Denver area and you're looking for a cool place to see movies, we see them at the Alamo Draft House in Littleton and now also in Sloan's Lake. Thank you to Colorado Coins, Cards, and Comics for supplying us with all our comic needs, especially you, Andrew. You know who you are. And a big shout out to James's mom. I'm giving you an electronic hug that you can feel through the airwaves. Thanks for listening, and have a nice day.